Hi, welcome to Thrive Thursday. We are here with Jen Fredericks and Shane Reed, and I'm Judy Dano. Thanks for joining us. We're going to talk about an article today that none of us wrote.
Nope, sure didn't. But we read it.
Read it. And it's actually a really great article. We've been talking about presents during this month of December and the busyness of all of the different holidays that come up this time of year. And this one is a really great segue, or a really great article that is also about presents, but in a different way. So the name of the article is "What If This Is the Best It Ever Gets and I Miss It?" Which is, I think we've probably all been there in those times of struggle and those times of challenges in life. This was an article written by Jill Bakke, one of our coaches here, during a time that was a difficult time in her life. And this question came up for her and helped her to really appreciate the moments that she was experiencing, even though she had been previously focused on the negative things that had been happening in her life. And she paused and took a moment to step back and say, okay, what can I be grateful in this moment? So I want to talk about that. I want to talk about it in terms of presence and in terms of how you can apply it right now during this time of year, as the year is coming to an end and we're shifting into the new year. And this typically is a busy time for people, and a lot of different dynamics come up. So, Jen, what's your thought on the article in terms of presence and what this means to you?
Sure. What really came up for me is my husband and I both love hosting during the holidays, and a lot of times that entails a gathering of people, and then it also entails people staying at our house at the same time. So I used to get into the place of having to be the perfect hostess, whatever that means, and like serving the perfect food and making sure everyone has the snacks that they like, and that is one way of showing that you care and being present with other people. However, those aren't the moments, I believe, now that people really remember and cherish. It's more how you make people feel than what you do for them. So what I have decided to do over the last few years as I'm preparing for this busy time of year is, yes, it's busy, and it's going to be busy. So I accept that, and then I decide to infuse that busyness with presence and gratitude. So in those moments where I'm rushing to get out the door to go to the Christmas concert that night after just throwing some dinner in the oven and making sure everyone's fed, is really embracing the moments leading up to the concert and the concert and afterwards. So you're not just like checking off your to-do list of these are the different things that have to get done during the time, but this is how I also want to be as I'm doing those things.
Really cool. So not just, how am I getting my tasks done and time management and task management, but who do I want to be while I'm actually executing on those tasks. That's a really cool thing. What about those people, and Shane, you might be able to answer this, what about those people that are this time of year really struggling with some challenges in their lives and just, really find this time of year difficult? What do we say to them? What do we say to that person that is like, I don't know how to navigate this at all?
That is a great question.
Put you on the spot.
I guess I would say you're here, so you have the choice, I guess, in how you experience it and what you experience. And so there very well are many people, I'm sure, that have past experiences or past influences that have shaped this time of the year for them. And I would say that because they understand or they're aware of that, they're also more powerful than them. And so, I think it's just deciding on whether or not you want to have them be as powerful in your life. If it's something that you're very attached to and you like that, reminder or remembrance or, then that's fine and it works for you. But if it's not, you can make that choice then, I guess is.
I love that. So I'm hearing like a really solid ability to choose your experience no matter what's happening externally in your world.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I don't think we hear that often enough. I think that message and that reminder is so important. That and the article, you know, talks about that specifically. Like we said, Jill's experience at that time in her life was very difficult. She had a recent divorce, very small children she was taking care of. It could have been extremely easy for her to continue in the space of, you know, this happened to me. And it wasn't, you know, it wasn't anything I did, and so I feel horrible about it. You know, there's a lot that you can do in creating stories and being out of the present moment. And so bringing that back to that presence of, you know, what is it that I actually, so the choice comes in, what I'm hearing is the question, what is it that I actually want to experience today, regardless? Jen, do you want to touch on that a little bit?
Yes.
Or something else?
Yeah, I had made a note right next to the line, what if this is the best it ever gets and I miss it? And I wrote down, were we put on the earth to run around crazy, achieving based on external demands to a certain standard? And so to that is what we're trying to live to, right? And when we're trying to live to that, we totally miss everything else that's going on.
Yeah.
So what I really want to acknowledge Jill for is during that difficult time in her life, she made the choice to absorb every single moment she had, especially with her little people, right, during that absolute time of suck.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she had a practice of gratitude and presence in those moments that allowed her to make some great memories.
Right.
In the same time that was very difficult, which I think can also be said for what you were touching on, Shane. People who are looking at a holiday where they're like, yeah, this is just going to suck. Something just happened. I'm not going to be able to enjoy this. Where would you like to, what is your choice in finding the gratitude and your presence in the moment so you can find those moments of joy?
And I think what's coming up for me as you talk about that, sometimes it's not shifting. It's funny, we talked about this a little bit earlier. Sometimes it's not shifting into the positive. Sometimes the presence that you need to be in is the grief or the challenge of it or the struggle, but not be in resistance to it. So when we talk about presence, we don't talk about it in the sense of that, you know, well, it's all joy and it's all happiness, and you know, there's real life things that go on in life that are very difficult for people. But when we resist that and think it should be some other way, especially because it's this time of year and I should be happy and I don't get to experience that. You know, what we're talking about when we talk about presence is our ability to be in the experience no matter what it is. And, you know, we do have choice in that, but when it's the resistance, or we can choose to be positive and feel a different way about it. And sometimes right where you're supposed to be is in the grief of it or in the struggle of it.
And in the grief and in the struggle, can you take a moment to relish that teardrop that's falling down your face, because that's holding emotions for you that could be very powerful for you to remember at some other point? Or is it a piece of grief that's leaving you or being expressed, you know, to the world for someone that you've lost that you're going to miss during the holiday season? So I look to children, and Shane, we talked about this earlier as well in the day. The children and how pure they are and how they throw themselves into every moment. Every once in a while, when I'm in a time of struggle, or even a time of busyness, I'll try to pull myself into that childlike sense of wonder and notice someone's laughter, or notice the breeze, because even in those difficult moments, there might be moments of a memory that you can pull forth later.
I love that. Is there anything you want to leave our audience with today?
I would say one thing I wanted to say was just to, to steer to the other direction is not as solemn, but as, you know, sometimes we can get caught up in, hey, I'm really excited about everything that's happening. And so to make sure that you are enjoying the moments and not looking ahead because, oh, what's the next coolest thing? Or what's the next coolest thing? Because then you're not where you're at. So.
Oh, I love that.
I like that a lot.
Yeah. Anything for you?
No, I think I've shared.
Okay.
I've shared what it means to me. Just being with the people that you love in a way that is fulfilling to you, I think, is presence for me in this time.
Awesome. So presence for me in this time, when I think about it in terms of the article, what if this is the best it ever gets and I miss it? I mean, it's not, it can't be more poignant than that. I mean, really, it's, you know, that kind of could be construed as a scary thought, like, oh my gosh, what if this is the best it ever gets? The first part of that, yeah. I think a lot of people think that. And then the added, and I miss it, that is like unbelievable. So I just, again, a reminder to really just be what you're in and know that you're exactly where you're supposed to be. And, you know, how do you practice presence? So we have conversations here all day long in our classes, and we always want it to bring it back to you and have you ask yourself the question, what does this question mean to you? We'd love to hear that, so if you want to add some comments underneath the video, that would be awesome. We love interacting with people. If you want to have a quick conversation with one of us, jump on the phone, give us a call, and if you love what we do, share all over Facebook and any other social media that you guys love. Thanks for being with us today. Have a great holiday. Bye.
Bye-bye.